I just went through the entire video and forgot to talk about Tesla. So we're going to put it at the front here. Tesla with an initial bearish reaction to earnings. For me, you can see this 206 level that we just hit again. 206, 204 is now a triple bottom, just a base of support on the daily time frame. And for me, if bears are going to follow through, we need to break 200 psychological. We've got the call, the earnings call coming up still, tightening range leading into it. We can expect some more volatility coming after the call, but if we were to open here at 213 tomorrow, for me, it's pretty much a non-event for earnings. It's up to the bears to break 200 to confirm this daily downtrend. And of course, if the bulls are going to try and negate this daily bear flag, we got to get back over 230. But one thing is for certain, it's initially a bearish reaction, but nice to see that it's responding to levels. We rejected from high of yesterday, and then we bounced off of the low of a couple days ago. So we'll see what tomorrow brings as far as the meaningful reaction. Netflix saw some profit taking on its earnings, but overall certainly still a clear daily bull break and still maintaining the hourly uptrend at the moment. Okay, so we got our daily consolidation by breaking the lows of yesterday. Consolidation officially underway. We were watching this rising wedge on the futures chart from the video yesterday. And that broke bear this morning, and then we back tested and rejected from it, kept an hourly downtrend going. So daily consolidation is underway. Daily lower highs are now set. Now I'm scouting for daily higher lows. I'm watching the hourly trend as our guide for when daily higher lows are shaping up. This is an inverse head and shoulders attempt. The bulls have to confirm the daily uptrend. We look back and see that we have not had a daily higher low and higher high in 2 months in this market. So if we hold the low and now break this high, it will be the first time in 2 months that we have a daily uptrend. That will be notable to us. But the burden is still on the bulls to prove that to us. Forgot to mention before we get into it, we're on Instagram. Link in the comments of this video. I'm going to start doing it more. We have some pretty cool stuff from the past, but there were a ton of scammers. I'm never going to message you on Instagram. It's not me. It's a scammer. But going to start doing some of these reels, playing around with those. I'll get better at them eventually. Bear with me, but doing those Twitter spaces as well once a week. Going to do a Q&A on Friday. Tune into that. NASDAQ, same thing. But I'm watching for the potential of a bull flag. Why? Because anytime we break a level that everybody is watching and it lacks follow through, I look for a wedge. And so we have a double bottom at the low of yesterday, and bears break that level straight into an hourly bounce. So I scout a wedge. I'm not confident that this is a falling wedge, potential bull flag combo, but I'm watching for it over the next 2 days. Tomorrow's going to be very telling for me. If it's a green day tomorrow, that's going to keep this very healthy. If it's a red day and we fall through this support line, then I'll say, okay, just standard old daily consolidation. But it is possible for the bulls to very quickly form a higher low. That's why tomorrow is going to be very important for me. And it's the same thing. We haven't had a confirmed daily uptrend in the NASDAQ in 2 months. Bulls are trying to pull that off. The dollar, daily higher low convincingly set. So new key support is now 111.73, 111.77 I should say. And if we were to reject from 113.92, this is important as well, because if we see the broader market bulls break to a higher high here very quickly, and the dollar stays strong, I'm going to be less trusting of that bull break in stocks. If stocks break bull and confirm daily uptrends for the first time in 2 months, and the dollar sets a daily lower high, and then potentially loses the uptrend on the daily, then I believe the stock market bulls a lot more. So I'm watching. Do we set a lower high on the dollar? It was a very strong day. We haven't even started 4-hour consolidation. So watching this in conjunction with everything else, just one little clue, one piece of the puzzle. Semiconductors with a daily inside bar didn't break the low of yesterday. So semiconductors, a little bit of relative strength today. Still a lot of work needed. You know, if I'm going to be looking for a daily trend change here, I need to see the semiconductor bulls make their way up to 190 to then be scouting the higher low and higher high from that point. Healthcare, big red day. Lead bears this morning were the healthcare sector and IWM. And you can see healthcare down notably, but it's the same thing. These are both inverse head and shoulders where we broke resistance and the S&P 500 failed to break resistance. They both fit the criteria of potential inverse head and shoulders. I just prefer the one that is a clear downtrend changing to an uptrend as the more clear pattern for me. You can see Sweetie Pants is getting it in the corner there of the camera. But XLV. So we're scouting a daily high or low, anything above 119.95. Bulls need an hourly trend change back in their favor for a daily high or low to be shaping up. Just an hourly bounce looking for a lower high initially. Can it be big enough to shape up a trend change attempt? Long story short, I'm scouting daily high or lows in many places over the next few trading days. I will ditch that if we see notable bear volume, if we see all of our major sectors dropping together and at the lows at the same time, if we see the dollar breaking out. But I'm scouting daily high or lows at the moment. Financial sector, daily consolidation underway. Bulls need to regain the hourly trend in their favor to set a daily high or low, anything above 29.59. Then we need to confirm a daily uptrend. So there's two steps here. Step one, form a daily high or low. How much retracement do we see? How much follow through is needed to confirm the trend change? These are questions that help us determine probabilities. If we set daily high or lows, can we confirm the trend change? But first things first, gotta set a daily high or low. IWM, drop down, bounce into the end of the day, but tightening range here. We did break resistance, but pretty much a double top, hardly any follow through. Have to confirm a higher low and higher high on the daily. You can see it's the same thing for everybody. They're just at different points in this setup. The biotech sector was smashed today. Why? Someone in the chat room alluded to what the bonds market was doing and the fact that that impacts these biotech sectors that have more debt on their balance sheets. That makes sense to me. But for me, when I look at the market, why is the biotech sector down so much? Well, healthcare was a lead bear. IWM was a lead bear. Growth names. The biotech sector is pretty much the two of those. If growth and healthcare had a baby, it's the biotech sector. Have you ever imagined two sectors having a baby before? Now you have. So it's pretty much a double whammy where both parent sectors were lead bears, and so the biotech sector got smashed down over 5%. This was really the only major trade I took today where I was live streaming, and at the end of my live stream, I grabbed this 15-minute lower high. Did I use the 2-minute time frame to pinpoint it? I believe I did. I was looking at 80 psychological, and I saw this uptrend resistance line here that we weren't getting over. I was looking for this to be a rising wedge for a 15-minute lower high. And I said at the end of my live stream, I'm either going to enter, if we reject from 80 or if we break it with no follow through, I'm going to make an initial bearish entry here. And then we followed through in a huge way. And so I was scaling out. And I exited my final third position of that scale out right around 78. So still early, but exceeded goals for the day. And so just locked in that win. But it was absolutely smashed. And so the biotech sector is giving us a tightening range with a low, high, higher low, lower high, 76.26 key support. We held that level by 28 cents today, but we're still very weak. If that level breaks, it'll be notable. Maybe a play off that support tomorrow. Have to see how the broader market is shaping up pre-market, but I will be keeping an eye out for that possibility. Hourly RSI got down to the low 20s. A lot of the short-term timeframes RSI was in the teens. Energy sector, bull break. So talking the last couple of days about how it was positioned well for the bulls, considering oil was weak. Oil and natural gas kept dropping. So here's energy, daily higher low at 80.41 and a bull break to a higher high. No follow through yet, but it's the highest level we've seen in energy in the last 4 months. 84.98 is the next level. And so keep an eye on the energy sector because it's positioned very well if oil can follow through with this bounce. 4-hour trend change to the bulls occurred Now we need this inside bar. If it is going to close in 13 minutes, I assume it is, inside bar has to break bull tomorrow for the daily high or low to be set. And to watch for the potential of a tightening range due to the retracement size here. But again, energy sector is just like that, a lead bull. No real, I can't think of any sectors off the top of my head that are at 4 to 6 month highs right now. Are utilities still crushed? Weak bounce. But same thing, looking for the daily high or low. Trying to set up a trend change. Cannabis. So US cannabis got some life today. GTBIF had a deal with Circle K, is it? The gas station, to be putting cannabis in gas stations, I believe in Florida. Led to a big spike there, up double-digit %, but also a big pullback. It's a lack of liquidity in both directions. So it shoots up fast, it pulls back fast, lots of volatility, but 10% up, 9% down on the day, from the high that is. Still going to be scouting a daily lower high, but this is a classic equilibrium. Watching for the lower high, then we scout the higher low, tightening range heading into the midterms. I do anticipate that we're going to see some media coverage in terms of whether or not Biden actually does anything. I mean, for me, if we get any rescheduling, descheduling, or suspended Schedule 1 for cannabis before the midterms, for me, that's a market buy news headline if I'm at the computer. Just like I did this time around that worked out really well. So I'm watching for that to market buy, and of course take some profit into that move, but I anticipate that that would be a notable move. So keeping an eye out for that. But in the absence of that, still watching for the possibility that all these states that are going to be voting on recreational and medical, we're going to see articles, CNBC coverage, news coverage. So watching ideally for a nice tight range to break bull into that, but broader market's going to have a say in that. Metal's still extremely weak. Gold heading down to test the lows, never confirmed the daily uptrend. Silver not as weak, but daily stair-step pattern with the lower high every single day for the last 10 plus days on silver. Again, the metal is just not doing anything for bulls in the last 2 weeks. And miners are reflecting that as well. Natural gas, all bears still, heading down to 528 support. Daily RSI getting real beat up. 4-hour RSI approaching the teens. Hourly RSI approaching the teens, so just extremely weak. Everything changed. There was a news headline there. I forget what it was, but everything changed with this Head and Shoulders, which we were on top of if you go back and watch videos from mid-September. Nice to see it play out very significantly. All about 528 from here. So that's where we stand. So I am looking for bearish entries in downtrends on hourly timeframes. But as soon as the hourly starts shaping up a trend change, I'm scouting those daily higher lows, and I'm right back to being open to the bulls here. I might add to my IRA during this current consolidation and use the lows as a stop as opposed to just scaling in to long-term no-touch positions. But I do like the inverse Head and Shoulders potential setup. It's going to get interesting the next couple of days. And we'll stay on top of it with you. Check out the Instagram. Appreciate you tuning in. And don't forget to do good things. Here comes the exciting conclusion of how to plant garlic. You can grow a lot of garlic in a small spot. They only need about 4 to 6 inches space because they just grow straight up. So even this little raised bed, which is maybe 3.5 or 4 feet by 6 or 7 feet, can definitely grow way more than I need. So we bury them a couple inches into the soil and now cover it up with leaves because they're going to be tucked in during some teen-degree weather. But as a general rule of thumb, if you have any exposed soil, you always want to cover it because the sun just bakes out all the beneficial microbes and dries it out. We want to keep it moist, and from the stuff that I just moved over, there's so many different kinds of bugs all crawling around right now. And if they just sit out in the sun and bake, it's a lot different than if you cover it up and let the ecosystem thrive. So every time you're driving in the Midwest across a huge field that is just bare, I just cringe. That's how we got the Dust Bowl. So So that's just chopped up leaves and grass that I mowed with the mower earlier today, and now I will water them in the first time, but after I do that, unless there's a drought, pretty much don't water them for the rest of the year until I harvest them in the summer. We have some pretty decent rainfall here in western North Carolina.